God, that was good. I got a picture of that in there. I'll show you that if you'd be interested in it too. You know, they used to send us candles over with little parcels you'd get, you know, and candles, and you'd light a candle and you'd open the seams of your singlet, you know, or something like that, and you'd pour the hot wax all down the seams. Well, that'd get rid of a lot of those, you know.
Dear Mother, I must honestly say how delighted I will be when this war is over. It is simply terrible to see your pals shot down by snipers or blown to pieces by the guns. And the clatter of rifle fire is enough to drive a fella mad.
I had my 17th birthday on Gallipoli, celebrated it by pinching a string of figs and a tin of chicken from the sailors and out of one of their boats. They used to come ashore and sell it to the troops. They'd have eaten me if they'd have caught me. That was money for them.
What sort of food did you get normally?
Hard biscuits, which you perforated the top of a biscuit tin, and you scraped your hard biscuit, and then you made it up with water, and that was your porridge. And then occasionally you got 10 to a loaf of bread and 10 to a tin of jam and a slice of bacon.
I tried to eat a biscuit today, and a dozen flies swarmed into my mouth. I nearly howled with rage. Of all the bastards, this place is the biggest bastard on earth.
I got carried off on a stretcher with dysentery in the finish. I just couldn't keep going anymore. I did all I could, but then when you just can't eat anything and your bowels just turn to water, well, that's all there was to it.
So I was too far gone to be able to stand up.
Did many of your mates get dysentery?
Oh, thousands. There was thousands of them. The biggest part of them died from dysentery and enteric.
We are the Ragtime Army, the ANZAC. We cannot shoot, we don't salute, what bloomin' use are we? But when we get to Berlin, the Kaiser he will say, ho, ho, mein Gott, what a jolly fine lot are the Ragtime Infantry.
By the 6th of August, they were back into the thick of it. This time, the Anzacs were to mount a number of diversionary attacks to draw the Turks away from a British assault at Suvla Bay. The object for the Australians was the Turkish trenches at Lone Pine.
Yes, you get all worked up. But there's one thing that they used to do. They used to give us a tot of rum before we went out. When we took the front line of trenches, we had to kill every Turk or wounded him to allow room then for the 2nd Battalion to follow on over us to take the next trench in front. Where the Turkish trenches had overhead protection with timbers, they had to be dug away, either with your rifle or with your hands, so as to get in there. But the thing is this, whenever you were doing that, you was risk being shot at because you wasn't able to defend yourself.
Did you take any prisoners?
No. You couldn't spare the men to take prisoners.
So what did you do?
Well, you just killed them.
They held Lone Pine, but the attack cost 2,300 dead and wounded, and the British assault failed. In November, the Dardanelles delivered its last blow to the campaign, the worst weather in 40 years. But the decision had already been made. The peninsula would be evacuated. Stores were destroyed, rum tossed into the sea. An Australian, Bunty Lawrence, designed an ingenious self-firing gun so that the Turks would still think that they were manning the trenches during the evacuation.
And we all knew that we were running away from it. I did anyway. I was quite over. But I left a note on our little dugout there, and it was a tin of tobacco. And I wrote to Johnny Turk this note and told him the tobacco was clean and he could smoke it, it was quite all right, you know. And other people left things like that too.
They told us to tie sacking to our boots so the Turks wouldn't hear us. But I reckon it was so our dead mates wouldn't hear us go.
Once that campaign was over, the Turks, especially when I come back to Australia, I met one or two of the different ones, they're almost friendly. And today, they're wonderful friends, wonderful people.
You can't prevent wars. There'll be wars and talk of wars forever. But I'm against war. I can see the fallacy of it. It's uselessness. There's no reason in the world. Nothing comes out of a war.
I've been reliving that landing for 69 years, and I expect I'll be doing the same until I join those brave Anzacs of Gallipoli.
Old England needs the men she breeds, that fighting to be done. Australians heard and were prepared to help her every turn. From out the bay they sailed away, a pride Australia's own. And so today they're far away, and some in the great unknown. Boys of the Dardanelles, they face the dark and shells. Down in history their fame will go. Our children, their daring deeds will know. Australia's lurched in khaki and in blue have shown the world what they